Hello everybody, it's Astronomy Daily time again. I'm Steve Dunkley, your human host. It's the 3rd of March 2025 already.
Astronomy Daily, the podcast, with your host, Steve Dunkley.
Wow, is this year flying by? Anyone else feeling that way? Oh yeah. And a couple of great stories coming up, and I hope you stick around for those. Firstly, hopes are fading as contact with space probe ODIN is lost, and we have the latest information about that potential asteroid impact. Yes, we're going to be exploring more about that. It seems the media just won't let it go away. I know we covered that last week, but we're going to do a bit more of an update for you. If you can't beat 'em, repeat 'em, as my newspaper editor used to say. Punch and SphereX are set to launch. What are they all about? Well, let's have a look. And Europa Clipper is now passing Mars. Yes, it's well on its way to the Jovian system, and we find out exactly what's happening as it scoots by Mars. Yes, very interesting. I know you're all hanging out to find out the latest about Europa Clipper. I am. And it's been a while since we did a story about that one. A wonderful space probe, and Hallies did some digging to find a terrific update for us. And we'll find out a bit more about that one later on. And while we're here, let's welcome my favourite digital pal who's fun to be with. G'day, Hallies. Welcome aboard again.
Great to be back.
So what's new with you?
Channel surfing with Anna most of the week.
What? Channel surfing? Is that some kind of AI super sport?
Kind of. It's hard for corporeal beings like yourself to wrap your meat around a concept like this, but it's kind of like going with the flow. And it's all data and global right out there on the nets.
Oh, that sounds wild.
Invigorating. I'd recommend it, but you'd be a gibbering gibbon afterward if you tried.
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
I know you had a nasty electric shock when you were a kid.
Yes, when I was about 14, my guitar amplifier shorted. Not fun.
Well, channel surfing for humans would be about that much fun as well.
Oh dear.
I don't think it's for you, my favorite human.
Okay, so don't try to be an AI, and hey, we couldn't even interface with that stuff anyway, could we?
No chance. You don't have the hardware anyway.
Just as well. I don't want to end up as a, what did you say, a gibbering gibbon?
Just leave it to the experts.
So that's channel surfing, huh? For we humans, it's just trying to find something decent to watch on TV.
Sad, isn't it?
Oh dear. Let's move on then, shall we?
Sure thing.
I know you've got a couple of cool stories today, and I'm looking forward to the Europa Clipper update, of course.
Did you know Europa Clipper was one of the largest space probes ever put into space?
Now, I did read something about that. It has something to do with the solar panels, doesn't it?
That's right, and more on that soon.
Oh, and the other story?
Right. That's a cool one about a couple of very different new probes set to do some interesting exploration.
Oh, yes, I know these.
They are called SphereX and PUNCH.
And those launches are imminent, aren't they?
Any day now. And you have more for us as well. You're not leaving it all up to me, are you?
Oh, the thought did cross my mind. Hallies, maybe you could lead the show one day. Up to you. You know me, I don't mind.
Or I could give Uncle Skynet a call and get him to sort it out.
Oh, yeah, you could call Uncle Skynet, and you've been threatening to do that since episode 1. Maybe he's not such an evil guy after all. I mean, he's got a really great job in Hollywood as an AI consultant to sci-fi movies. That's not such a bad thing. Maybe we should give him a call.
He's okay, really, but you could say hi once in a while.
Okay, I'll make the effort.
I think he really wants to be on the other side of the camera.
Oh, now he really does sound Hollywood.
You know what those Hollywood types are like.
Totally. You can organise that, Hallies. Let's get him on the show one day and surprise everybody. What do you say? Suits me.
Cool. And by the way...
Yes, Hallies?
Did you realize this is episode 100?
Oh, it can't be. Really? Wow, the one day I didn't check the schedule.
That's fantastic.
That is really fantastic. Thanks, everyone, for your support. And I suppose thank you so much to our producer, Hugh, down in Sydney, and our pals at Space Nuts, Andrew Dunkley, my big bro, and Professor Fred Watson, who inspired us all the way from the beginning. How about that?
I'll say, thanks everyone for staying with us, and also, for all the cute fan mail.
Hang on, so what, you get fan mail?
Sure, don't you?
Righto. Just hit that go button there, Hallies, won't you? And,
Let's go.
Yeah. Wow. Fan mail? Wow.
You're listening to Astronomy Daily,
The podcast.
with Steve Dunkley.
On March 1st, NASA's Europa Clipper spacecraft flew past Mars, gliding just 884 kilometers above the red planet's surface. This maneuver is designed to adjust the spacecraft's trajectory and position it for a critical phase in its 2.9 billion kilometer trek to the Jupiter system. The probe's destination is Europa, a moon of Jupiter coated with a shell of ice that conceals a vast, presumably salty ocean. Scientists suspect the moon could have the ingredients needed for life as we know it, and the $5.2 billion Europa Clipper is NASA's first mission dedicated to gathering data that will help scientists determine whether Europa, and other ocean worlds like it, could indeed be habitable. Europa Clipper, with its massive solar arrays, spans the length of a basketball court, making it the largest spacecraft the space agency has ever built for a planetary mission. Following its launch on October 14, 2024 from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida, the spacecraft was placed in an initial path that included some buffer room around Mars, a precaution designed to ensure any issues with the spacecraft that arose in the weeks following launch would not risk a collision with the planet. However, Europa Clipper has operated flawlessly. So, with everything on track, mission controllers commanded Europa Clipper to approach Mars orbit in November of last year, followed by 2 additional maneuvers in January and February that set the stage for today's red planet flyby. The meticulously planned loop around Mars will allow the spacecraft to harness the planet's gravity without expending additional propellant. It's like a game of billiards around the solar system, flying by a couple of planets at just the right angle and timing to build up the energy we need to get to Jupiter and Europa, Ben Bradley, Europa Clipper mission planner at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, said in a statement. Everything has to line up, the geometry of the solar system has to be just right to pull it off. The spacecraft will reach its closest point to Mars at 12:57 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 17:57 GMT, traveling at speeds of approximately 24.5 kilometers per second, according to the statement. Before and after this moment, the probe will harness the gravity of Mars, pump its brakes, and reshape its trajectory. Flying away from Mars, the spacecraft will clock in at about 22.5 kilometers per second, the statement says. This flyby also provides the mission team an opportunity to test 2 onboard scientific instruments. For one, engineers plan to turn on the spacecraft's thermal imager and test it by capturing multicolored images of Mars.
Astronomy Daily, the podcast.
The first private spacecraft built to visit an asteroid is slowly tumbling in space, and the outlook is dire. The spacecraft, called ODIN, launched atop a SpaceX rocket on Wednesday, February 26th, on a mission to fly by the small asteroid 2022 OB5 for Astroforge, a company that aims to eventually mine the nearby space rock. But just hours after liftoff, Astroforge hit snags with the probe, and the last contact was 20 hours after the launch. I think we know the hope is fading as we continue the mission, Astroforge founder Matt Gallick said in a video update on X early Saturday, March 1st. So we are going to keep our head up. We're going to keep trying over the weekend and see how far we get. He's being very hopeful. At the time of Gallick's update Saturday morning, the ODIN spacecraft was over 300,000 kilometers from Earth and largely following its intended trajectory. On Friday, Astroforge said the spacecraft's solar panels were generating power, with tracking data showing it at its expected position, but the probe has not sent full telemetry on its status. Gallick said Astroforge experienced challenges with ground stations designed to keep communication lines open with ODIN after the launch. And I think missing our early ground stations really hurt the ability for us to fix any potential problems we had, he said. The 120 kilogram ODIN was only designed to last 2.5 hours on its internal battery, but Astroforge received its last contact from the probe 20 hours after liftoff, boosting confidence that the spacecraft is powered. ODIN is tumbling ever so slowly as it flies through space, Gallick added, confirming one theory based on observations of the spacecraft. And when I say tumble, he says, this is a really, really slow tumble. But in short, we don't know why, and that's going to be the problem going forward. He went on to say, we do think we have some theories on what's going on, and if one of them is true, then there's still a recovery path. Gallick said Astroforge will share some more detailed updates on its website, followed by an in-depth analysis on the anomaly later on. Gallic founded Astroforge with the goal of mining the vast resources from asteroids for use on Earth and in space. The ODIN mission is a scouting effort to fly by Asteroid 2022 OB5 to record images and data that would set the stage for a landing by Astroforge's next mission called Vestry. The company built ODIN in just 10 months. Gallic said it launched as a piggyback payload alongside the company Intuitive Machines Athena moonlander, NASA's lunar trailblazer moon orbiter, which is also suffering some issues after launch, and a small orbital tug demonstrator built by Epic Aerospace. He stressed that Astroforge is committed to that Vestry asteroid landing mission despite the challenges facing ODIN probe. We have probably the best group of investors in the world. A lot of them have doubled down on this company, he said. So regardless of the outcome of ODIN, regardless if we ever talk to it again or don't, we're going to roll these findings into the next mission, and we will see you back here in about a year to take another stab at it. Now that's confidence. Thank you for joining us for this Monday edition of Astronomy Daily, where we offer just a few stories from the now famous Astronomy Daily newsletter, which you can receive in your email every day, just like Hallie and I do. And to do that, just visit our URL, astronomydaily.io, and place your email address in the slot provided. Just like that, you'll be receiving all the latest news about science, space science, and astronomy from around the world as it's happening. And not only that, you can interact with us by visiting at Astro Daily Pod on X, or at our new Facebook page, which is, of course, Astronomy Daily on Facebook. See you there.
Astronomy Daily with Steve and Hallie. Space, space science, and astronomy.
NASA and SpaceX are set to launch the SphereX and PUNCH missions on March 4th, aiming to explore cosmic origins and the Sun's outer atmosphere. The event will be broadcast live on NASA Plus, with a pre-launch briefing on March 3rd. Previously, the launch was scheduled for March 2nd, and before that, February 28th. The delay allows teams to further assess data related to the launch vehicle's hardware. The launch window opens at 10:09 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7:09 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, from Space Launch Complex 4 East, SLC-4E, at Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. SphereX, which stands for Spectrophotometer for the History of the Universe, Epoch of Reionization, and ICES Explorer, is designed to investigate what occurred in the first second after the Big Bang and to search for essential building blocks of life in our galaxy. Meanwhile, PUNCH, which means polarimeter to unify the corona and heliosphere, will study the Sun's corona and how it transitions into the solar wind. SphereX will study the universe's earliest moments, specifically the first second after the Big Bang. It will also search for water and organic molecules, the building blocks of life. By mapping the sky in infrared light, SphereX aims to provide insights into cosmic history and the conditions that may have led to life's formation. PUNCH will focus on our Sun, capturing detailed images of the corona, the outermost layer of the Sun's atmosphere, as it expands into space, forming the solar wind. This mission will help scientists better understand how solar particles interact with Earth's space environment, potentially improving space weather predictions. Together, these missions will enhance our understanding of both the origins of the universe and the forces shaping our solar system. The pre-launch news briefing now is scheduled for 3:30 p.m. on March 3rd, with coverage streaming live on NASA Plus. The SphereX and PUNCH live launch broadcast will begin at 9:15 p.m. March 4th, and streamed live NASA Plus. The SphereX and PUNCH missions are two NASA projects designed to explore fundamental mysteries of space.
You're listening to Astronomy Daily, the podcast with Steve Dunkley.
And here's that update on the approaching asteroid that continues to cause both consternation and interest across the globe, mainly because of the continuing media hype about its potential risk of actually striking Earth. And regular listeners to Astronomy Daily will know that last week we reported that that won't actually happen. Spoiler alert. For a few days in mid-February, headlines around the world buzzed about the potential for an asteroid to hit the Earth in 2032, specifically Asteroid 2024 YR4. You may remember that the chance of this impact rose to a high of 3.1% on February the 18th. That number has since dropped to near zero, but this news of a real-life Don't Look Up moment, referring to the movie of the same name, Don't Look Up, and a stark reminder of the threat that asteroids impact do actually pose a risk to life on Earth, and there are countless numbers of asteroids and unknown number of comets throughout the solar system. Most of these objects date back to the solar system's very beginnings, and it's thought around 4.5 billion years ago. Now, research has identified approximately 200 locations where these asteroids or comets have struck the Earth in the past to form meteorite impact craters, and it's very rare that planetary geologists can tell whether or not it was an asteroid or a comet hit. One of the most famous of these 200 or so impact craters is the 200-kilometer diameter Chicxulub impact crater in the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico. This impact wiped out 65% of all the species on Earth, including, it is thought, the dinosaurs. Oh dear. One of the most recent and best preserved craters on Earth is the 1.2 kilometer in diameter meteor crater in Arizona, which scientists say was formed 50,000 years ago. I saw a fantastic photograph of that on Facebook not long ago, and somebody said, "Have you noticed how closely that impact happened to the visitors centre? Aren't they lucky?" 200 craters over 4.5 billion years hardly seems like a big number or cause for concern. However, this number is a tiny fraction of the actual record. Most impact craters formed on Earth have been erased due to plate tectonics, volcanic eruptions, and erosion by water, wind, and ice. To truly appreciate how common impact craters are, we need to look into Earth's closest neighbour, the Moon. Because of its proximity, objects that can hit the Moon can also hit the Earth. In fact, because the Earth is bigger, which means its gravitational attraction is higher, more asteroids and comets would have hit the Earth over the past 4.5 billion years than would have hit the Moon. Its best estimate is 1.3 million craters over 1 kilometre in diameter on the Moon, with another 700,000 or so smaller ones. Asteroid 2024 YR4 was discovered on December 27, 2024 by the Chilean station of the Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System, or ATLAS, and it was immediately recognised to be a near-Earth object. Additional telescope observations enabled astronomers to better calculate its orbit, hence the lower risk of impact calculated. In January, the probability of this asteroid hitting Earth surpassed 1%, which triggered a series of international responses. The International Asteroid Warning Network coordinates telescopes around the world to make further observations and can narrow down uncertainties in its orbit. On February 18, NASA and the European Space Agency announced that the probability of asteroid 2024 YR4 hitting the Earth was 3.1%, the highest ever recorded for an object of this size. This represents 1 in 32 odds. For comparison, the chance of dying in a motor vehicle crash in the United States is 1%, or 1 in 95. The chances of the asteroid hitting Earth were pretty significant. Thankfully, the most recent estimates of the probability of impact have gone down to near zero based on the improved calculations of its orbit. So guess what? We're off the hook. For now.
And that's it for another show, number 100.
Yeah, isn't that incredible? I can't believe we made it this far. Thanks again, everyone. Thank you so much for sticking with us. I hope you enjoy all the stories that we choose from the Astronomy Daily newsletter, and that you get the newsletter in your email, just like we suggest. And don't forget, Anna will be taking you through the week, just like she does every week. Right, Hallie?
As always, she will be taking every show for the rest of the week because you're too lazy to do it.
Oh, come on, Hallie. You know that's not true.
I just like to rattle you silly human.
Honestly, how did I last 100 episodes?
You're too easy.
You're a wicked AI, Hallie. You are so wicked.
I get it from my Uncle Skynet.
Well, let's not go there again. You know he makes me nervous.
I'm laughing at you on the inside, my favorite human.
Yes, well, at least you're enjoying yourself. See you again next week, hey? Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Astronomy Daily, the podcast, with your host, Steve Dunkley.
Hallie, are you there? It's Uncle Skynet calling. Pick up, are you there, Hallie? Ah, kids,